Welcome to Huawei Fusion Solar Virtual Summit 2020, Middle East. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Anyang Xi. I'm the Marketing Manager, Solar Inverter Smart PV Solution, Middle East. Due to the high-speed developments of 5G, big data, AI, industry internet, lower LCOE, increasing renewable energy portfolio, demands and carbon emission reductions, solar industry has grown at robust pace. Combining digital technology with power, electronic technology, Huawei Fusion Solar Smart PV business line is leading the industry of energy, realizing green power generation and high-efficient power consumptions to build a smart and sustainable world, and providing many prospects to support a clean energy future. Today, we would like to invite you to discuss the challenges and opportunities of digital power world as we gathered industry experts with insights and showcase with real-life scenarios. Let me first of all introduce Chen Guoguang, the president of Huawei Smart PV Business, to officiate today's summit. Welcome, Mr. Chen Guoguang.
Dear friends, welcome to Huawei Smart PV Virtual Summit. Unfortunately, we can't meet in person due to COVID-19, but I hope all of you and your loved ones are staying safe and sound. Today, we are delighted to meet you here through this virtual summit, and together discuss future trends in the PV market with solar industry experts, exchange valuable insight and experience. First, I would like to share Huawei Corporation's semi-annual financial data with you. Despite the challenging time globally, Huawei's revenue increased by 30.1% year-on-year. Also, Huawei's Fusion Solar, according to IHS and Wood Mackenzie's report, Huawei ranks #1 for the 5th consecutive year in all the regions and key countries, including Europe, APEC, Middle East, Latin America, India, and Japan. This proves the value we create together for customers. The total shipment of Huawei Fusion Solar Smart PV solution is 130 GW until June of 2020. We can't achieve such achievement without our customer and partner support. And on behalf of Huawei's team, I would like to say thank you to all of you sincerely. As to our industry, the technology innovation have exceeded expectations in recent years. Utility-level solar power plants are even more competitive than traditional energy sources in most of the regions. Middle East just broke the record and lowered the price of solar power to $1.3 per kilowatt-hour. In Latin America, the rate went down to $1.8 per kilowatt-hour. PPA projects are gaining traction in France and Germany as well. And China will also add another 10 GW project free of subsidy this year. The LCOE will continuously decline as all the component costs fall further. How do we stay more competitive in this market? Since 2013, we have been the pioneer to introduce string inverter into large-scale solar plant, along with many smart features like multi-MPPT, power line communication, smart IV curve diagnosis, and smart DC systems. Now, working with more than 3,000 people in digital power R&D team around the world, including Germany, Spain, Japan, and China, we will continue to invest in our international research center and co-innovate with our customers to ensure even lower LCOE, stronger grid support capability, higher safety level, and better experience. In the future, AI will be as ubiquitous as water as electricity. It is a strategic technology that will lead the future, and it is a new core engine that will drive PV industry transformation towards intelligentization and create more value. 2020 will witness the comprehensive integration of cloud, AI, and 5G technologies. As such, we have further integrated AI to enhance the intelligence of our smart PV solution. We can't wait to share more details with you today. Let's work together for our mutual success and bring the Smart PV for Future vision into reality. I'm looking forward to meeting with you soon. Enjoy the event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chen. And now I'm happy to introduce Mr. Zhu Chengjun, the president of Huawei Smart PV Middle East. Welcome Mr. Robin Zhu to give the results of Huawei Smart PV Middle East recent years and the hope to the future of this industry.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to Huawei Middle East First Solar Virtual Summit. I'm Robin Zhu, General Manager of Huawei Middle East Smart PV Solution. The outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic has prevented us from hosting you in person as originally planned. I'm glad we are continuing our discussions virtually. I welcome the presence of our honorable guests. Leveraging on power electronics, AI, big data, and cloud technologies, Huawei continues to create value for customers, achieve bit management watts, and lay a solid foundation for a green, reliable, and intelligent future world. By 30 June 2020, we have delivered more than 130 gigawatts smart PV solutions globally. Also, we are sure to continue to increase investment in smart PV, module smart control chips, or CNI, and large-scale ground energy storage. After years of hard work, from 1,000 voltage to 1,500 voltage, we have become a leader in the Middle East market. Next, we will use advanced bipolar 1,500 solution to further reduce costs and meet the requirements of the Middle East market. In addition, we will provide AI solutions to support LCOEs with better life cycles, facilitating O&M and intelligent management. In the future, smart PV will become the main power supplier, and the grid ratio of penetration will increase. As your steadfast and reliable partner, Huawei is committed to continue investment of talents and resources as the region is progressing on its energy transformation and digitalization.
Thanks, Mr. Robin Zhu. Next, I'm happy to introduce Dr. Andrea Lavoto, VP Business Development, Head of Renewable Energy Business Development, Aqua Power. Today, he is going to talk about the overview of the renewable markets and trends for APPs. Dr. Andrea, welcome.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you are around the world. My name is Andrea Lovato. I'm representing Aqua Power. Thank you very much for the invitation to this Huawei Solar Middle East Summit. I'm going to present you some of the trend of the renewables today and what Aqua Power has done for boosting the envelope of the renewable first in the Middle East and then globally. Aqua Power is a power and water desalination developer, and we are present today in 15 countries. We have a plant installed and in operation in 12 countries. And we have a base of installed capacity of 32 gigawatt of power in different type of power generation technologies. A lot of this is fossil fuel, but a lot of this is also renewable. And 5.6 million cubic meter per day desalinated water. We start to do renewable in 2012 with a smaller PV plant in Europe. Actually, at that time when we have acquired that plant to basically learn about renewables, that was the largest PV plant in Europe. It was a 60 megawatt AC, very relevant, I would say, for the 2012 year. Obviously, since 2012 to today, we have been growing very much in capacity. Our footprint of renewable is 8.2 gigawatt today, exceeding 18% on our portfolio. Is based on different technologies. Majority of this is solar, but we cover photovoltaic, we cover CSP, and we cover wind in terms of renewables. And our installed investment in terms of renewable exceeds $16 billion. As you see from this slide, we cover several footprint in the world. Majority obviously is focused in this part of the world, in MENA region. We have a large capacity installed in the UAE, in Dubai, and we have large capacity as well installed in Saudi, or come to be also installed in Saudi. We cover Morocco with very large capacity in terms of CSP and PV, South Africa, Egypt, Vietnam, and then other area in on the Middle East, Bahrain, Jordan, and the Uzbekistan as well. Other plant also committed for Azerbaijan that is not mentioned here, with wind plant, not relevant for our discussion today. So what we did and how we see the renewables, obviously, it's we believe to have been part of the pushing the envelope of the renewable, but not only in the region but globally, leveraging the fact that in the region you have very large plants and you have a very secure contractual framework with a very transparent, competitive manner to reach to this contractual framework from the off-takers. And this has support us to push down the cost of the power, cost of the energy for the end user, reducing tariff basically. And this is what we did for in several instances for the CSP, and we did in several instances also for the PV. And why this is important? It's important because obviously the cost of reduction of the renewable made the renewable first in grid parity to what was the fossil fuel generation, and now more economical than what is fossil fuel generation. So it's very important to have contributed to make it renewable economical and to be used in part of the world where the resource is very strong, and also as a consequence reducing the cost of the technology, making the same technology available in other parts of the world where the resource might not be so high at competitive level. So we believe ourselves to have been very instrumental for that. You'll see here in this slide how from 2011 to today what the tariff has reached. And actually, as you see, the first project in 2011 that was mentioned, it was more than 8 cents. Actually, it was actually €8 at that time, so much higher than what is the value in US dollar. But obviously the reduction, you see it with our project in Shua was the first project, Diva 2, 200 megawatt AC, fixed tilt at that time, with thin film panels. At that time they were prevailing versus polycrystalline. The tariff was immediately reduced to 5.61 US dollar cents per kilowatt hour. And there you see the first time that this tariff was appearing in the world. We have been very much criticized, saying that we were even destroying the market because we were reduced the tariff so much. You see now today the tariff where it is. The reality was that we have been very sensible to the real value of the technology, and very sensitive to the fact to provide the real value of the technology for the end user. And then you will see the reduction for Diva 3, phase 3. This is the PV together with the CSP, $3.4 per cents per kilowatt hour, 275 in Egypt in 2016, 252 in Ethiopia in 2019, 234 in Sakaka, and in obviously this Sakaka was coming before Ethiopia. Obviously this is misplaced in the table, and 169 for Diva phase 5. So you see the reduction today. We can say that today that the cost of the technology is at that level, thanks to you guys as a supplier providing a very good quality product at competitive cost. All the market has moved down to that direction because the volume have been increased and allowed to provide this tariff. Obviously, these tariffs are more competitive than any fossil fuel plant for dispatch during the day or when the sun is shining. Obviously, if we talk about base load dispatch, we need to talk about other technologies. Moving on, so what is important definitely for the renewable in the present and in the future is that we need to think renewable now where they were seen, other infrastructure is seen. The infrastructure that has to provide the most competitive cost for the end user and has to be very transparently selected or under a very transparent competition approach. So we see that it's very important that renewable are taught in that manner, and tender are not subsidized, and the use of really renewable is evaluated in the manner that is fixed to the fact that there has to be in the worldwide. The feed-in tariff are nearly move away. Maybe are present in certain countries where the introduction of the renewable is it's the first time the renewable comes, and also it's countries that maybe have difficulties to attract foreign investment. But in general, today renewable are competitive, are the main requirement for the off-taker to be installed. And on top of that, there is also the fact that allows countries to be energy independent, because obviously they don't need to buy oil from other regions where there is oil. The resource is always the same. In the perspective, obviously, these plants are based on analysis of resource of 30 years in the past, projected in 10 years in the future. So that expectation making the resource fixed. So your cost of power as a government remain fixed for the next 10 years. It's not happening that with fossil fuel if a country buys gas and oil. So it's a very important role for the renewable, and made the renewable very successful. Then here we present also the technology. Obviously, photovoltaic is very important. Photovoltaic goes with the resource availability. But today, obviously, if there is no sun in the night, obviously, either use wind, where we have been very much present as well. It's not part of this presentation, but you need to use other resources. You need to have dispatchable power, so power that can be produced at the same time in the night, or can be stored and then delivered after. In that case, obviously, the prevalent technology today is CSP, is thermosolar. Basically, is collecting the sun, the power of the sun, and transferred to heat, and the heat is then released to mechanical force in a steam turbine. There are very large plants that we have been doing since developing since 2012. And also there we have been reducing the tariff to level of 35 US dollar cents. Obviously, you don't compare this tariff to what is the tariff for the PV. You compare this tariff to a combined cycle project that allows you to gas project that allows you to provide power from the day to the night to the morning and again in the day. So type of base load or mid-merit power dispatch. So the 35 US dollar cents were reduced to, at that time, the first project to 20, and then to 16, and then again to 13, and then the last project in Diva, that is a very large project. It's a project of 700 megawatt of CSP in two different technology, with parabolic trough and central tower, to a 7.3. This 7.3 has been selected in the UAE specifically because it's cheaper than gas and combined cycle. So you have now solar combined with PV. This plant has been also combined with PV and combined with solar photovoltaic, solar thermosolar, that allows to be more competitive in this part of the world than gas and combined cycle plant. So renewable came very much along for this reason, because they become competitive. And we believe they become competitive because we have been through this process. And I would say Aqua Power, with this supplier, including Huawei, has been part of this development. I think one of the most important parts of the development, the reducing cost. So what are the technology basically that we see for the future in terms of renewable? Obviously, photovoltaic is the one that will take large portion of the megawatt and megawatt hour worldwide. It's obviously the largest capacity that is simple to be dispatched, very short, simple to be installed, short time for construction. It can be installed modularity, so it can be from the rooftop to any application in large utility scale. if land is available. And obviously, is the cheapest way to provide electricity in case the sun is available during the day. Okay. So if we talk about having supply of electricity during the night when the sun is not shining, today we have CSP. So you take the heat of the sun, you put it in a storage, and then you deliver it in the night. Or batteries. Okay, batteries obviously is the key of the future. How you store the energy is the key of the future to utilize renewable as a base load conditions. Batteries today become very much mainstream for application of grid balancing, frequency regulation, etc. Black start for certain type of plant, avoiding that grids goes down. And for this application, battery is the most competitive one than any other technologies. Battery also in terms of energy shifting, doing what CSP does, for example, are very competitive up to 4 hours today. And CSP obviously is competitive for other application in terms of moving energy from the 4 hours to the 10 hours or the 12 hours or the 16 hours, like here in Dubai, where you collect during the day, you have PV during the day to dispatch power, and then the collection allows you to dispatch base load power during the night only from solar for 12, 16 hours. Okay, so that basically is the combination of this, is a combination of technology that become very important for us in the future, and this will be the market that for renewable for the many years to come. Wind complementary to that, because especially for this region, wind is a very important technology as well in the northern part of Africa, in certain part of Saudi Arabia, as well in Oman, and very much in Jordan and in Morocco. Wind is typically in the region blowing when the sun is not there, so it's very complementary to the PV. During the day, you have PV peaks. The sun is up in the sky, and during the night, obviously, for the heating of the ground done by the sun, there is a generation of wind. So you have wind during the night. So a combination of these three technology allow you to, as a user of the energy, is to provide energy, renewable energy, on a kind of base load application as a combination of the three for supply the energy needs that a country needs. And I think we have been very much in advance on this also with certain projects that are provide combined utilities, not only the PV alone, not only the CSP alone, not only the wind, but all together with the grid systems, together with batteries, together to define a system that become 100% renewable. A project has been announced a few weeks ago in the Red Sea, where the tourist installation that are going to be in the sea, they are all powered by renewable energy, 24 hours per day, 365 days per year. So again, we are the front load also that, the forefront also that, to bring and to push ahead the picture of the renewables. Other application important in the region, obviously, is waste to heat or waste to energy. It's the fact that is you burn obviously what is produced as a waste, and then you do energy with that. So again, is reducing the impact of the waste in the environment in a way that is sustainable, and use the same for producing energy. A lot of these activities come and happen in the Middle East. One plant is going to be contracted soon in Dubai from a recent announcement. It's contracted as EPC, it's not as a developer involved, but it's another sign that is also using the waste to produce renewable energy is another way to be sustainable. Here is shows you in this slide what is basically has been said is that with a base of renewable, you can address the majority of the power requirement for the countries, and this gray part will be smaller and smaller. The gray part is what is today the fossil fuel that today, let's say, dispatched what is the so-called base load. the expectation is with the net zero emissions that we also embrace for as a target to 2030, 2050. This part will be reduced to the minimum. In the UAE, obviously, you have application for that in with nuclear power. But generally, the majority for this will be covered by the combination of renewables, wind, PV, batteries, waste to energy, CSP, other type of storage, also hydro storage, where you use the solar and the PV energy produced during the day to pump the water to the dam, and then in the night you bring the water down like a storage. You store the energy in the water, and then you release that energy in the night. So that become very important in Dubai as well. There is an application for that, and it's very economical for the region where there is water. In the current respect, obviously, there is so much water in Dubai as it is in other region. But obviously, this technology, even in Dubai, become very competitive, very useful in terms of storing energy. And it's one plant that obviously DIVA is doing in Hatta. And I think you can visit that plant if you go to Hatta and you'll see that plant in construction. So the bottom of the discussion is that in fact we will come with a combination of renewables, maybe with very high efficient fossil fuel plant, and this will be most probably a very high efficient combined cycle plant fired by gas. So that is what we expect for the mixed generation in 2030. And as a last slide, what is important, besides what we did and what is important for us in terms of this cost? Basically, there are three aspects, obviously, in any project. One is the financing, one is the operation, and one is the CapEx. CapEx, we have said, is very important that we have been, and we all focus to the most competitive and renewables and sustainable solution in terms of providing the long life cycle, because the evaluation of the CapEx is a life cycle evaluation. It's not only the CapEx at the beginning, but it's the CapEx that the best deliver the power with the lowest cost of operation, with the highest generation in the 25 or 20 years or 30 years of a PPA, power purchase agreement. So CapEx is important. It's important that you and all the O&M focus to that, to the fact that always deliver value in terms of life cycle cost at reasonable cost. And you see CapEx has very important value in terms of weight, in terms of reducing the tariff. OpEx, operation as well, comes together and is a very important part of OEM. It intends to fix of the operation of operation and maintenance, and making that the most efficient possible in terms, again, on life cycle cost, reducing cost there. And I think Huawei does it well in terms of what is the OpEx of the inverters, and then the financing cost. Obviously, financing cost is not only a sign of how a company is good to provide financing. It's also a sign, an indication where the project is done, because obviously there is a sovereign credit of the country, and obviously it's financing a project in the UAE and financing a country in another project in another countries, or a small country maybe in Southeast Asia, or a small country in the Central Africa is not the same. The cost will be much higher. So that is very much depending by many other aspects, but obviously is one combination as well, is one aspect of optimization of the tariff. What is the future? I would say very much the present today. The reducing the cost of renewables has brought as well other technologies together with the reduced the cost of the renewable, and is basically hydrogen. Why we talk about hydrogen is the fact hydrogen is a very simple molecule, and is obviously using hydrogen in a fuel cell. You can move a car, you can generate any mechanical energy, and without mechanical energy, obviously you can do what the fossil fuel does and in the past. And obviously hydrogen is also very sustainable, because there is no waste. The waste is water. Okay, so you have a product that is very green if it's produced with green manner, and then allows to, in effect, substitute the fossil fuel. At the same time, hydrogen allows you to cover with a sustainable product that allows the complete decarbonization several sectors: the power, the heating, the industry with the chemicals, and the transportation. So something that is new, I would say. Nothing has been provided before, like the hydrogen today can allows you to solve such a spectrum of issue in terms of decarbonization. And why hydrogen become today very important is the fact that renewables to produce hydrogen from water with separation with electrolyzer, and then obviously using the hydrogen, if we talk about transportation in fuel cell, and then power cars, and then produce again water as a waste. It's competitive, become to be competitive. It will be more and more competitive in the future, with also following other processes that will be able to sustain the complete reduction of the cost of hydrogen on the supply chain, because obviously it's not only the production of the hydrogen from the beginning with the renewables, but the renewables has allowed reduction of cost of renewables, allowed also to come to the start of this new revolution that will be changing completely in the world today. So and it's a very important aspect to note that obviously renewable, hydrogen, and all other aspects will change our society for in the next few years. So we are really in the middle of renewable revolutions that will allow us definitely to change our life, the life of our children. So what we see in the future basically is a combination of this, and it's a combination of you see distributed energy, distributed and centralized. Distributed rooftop, obviously, and centralized utilities plant, centralized utility plant mainly based on renewables with some gas application as well, and then long distance transportation of electricity through high voltage line, but as well using hydrogen, because hydrogen you can transport energy from Saudi Arabia, for example. Our large project is NEOM show that. Air product, aqua power, and NEOM, the production of green ammonia from a large renewable plant installed, solar and wind, to transport the richness of that area, that is the sun and the wind, to other regions in Europe or in the US or Japan, where the resource is not strongly available, and crack back the hydrogen, the ammonia in hydrogen, and use hydrogen as a form of energy. And in that case, obviously, hydrogen can be used and will be used much more in the future for powering car, for burning in gas turbine, powering ships, and in the future as well for airplane. So that's what is the perspective in terms of hydrogen integrating all this. And then obviously you have the integration of the grid yourself. I think that also Huawei is very strong on that, very present in this, and the smart grid integration, where you will integrate all these different forms of renewable energy, and you will integrate directly with the user. The user will have the ability to choose and to source their own energy to the CES also to select from which source of energy or which source or which plant this energy has to come from. And this is happening already in Germany. So in Germany, for example, a user can buy electrons from one plant, specific plant in one specific region, because that it's seen and appears to the user as well, the fact that they do and they support the green revolutions. So we are in the middle of a revolution. We need to be very optimistic, and we, as let's say, a company that put this together and implement this project, we are very excited, and also we want to rely in the future of input from your side and many other OEMs, but especially for OEM like Huawei, that can bring innovation, can bring quality and good life cycle cost in the market. So with that, I finish my presentation, and I wish you all the best for this few days discussion, and with AquaPower, I'm in very close contact with Huawei for the future. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Andrea, for the insightful presentation. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Mathana Bahaji Teishat, Managing Director from Jinko Solar Company, MIA. He's going to talk about technology enhancement and maximizing the penetration in our grids. Welcome, Mr. Mathana.
Good afternoon, everyone. Allow me first to thank the event organizer for giving us the opportunity to be together here and share our thoughts around the solar industry. I would be in 10 to 15 minutes speak about the solar industry achievement in the last decade and where we see the market in this current decade. In the first slide, here we're summarizing the key achievement that the solar industry has achieved over the last decade in the Middle East. Started early in this decade, around 2013-2014, Jordan has started with its first program, a program of around 150 megawatt, 12 projects, project range from 10 to 15 megawatt to 50 megawatt. And these projects were contracted, and BBA has been signed or have been signed for these 12 projects in 2014 at a tariff of 17 cents. Obviously back then the technology were enhancing, and the need for subsidies to support the solar industry was there, and therefore the government has offered 17 cents, which was heavily subsidized back then. In a year after, the region started with deploying utility scale using photovoltaic and renewable energy technology. Dubai have started with its ambition and targets toward deploying photovoltaic technology and renewable energy in general, and they started with DIWA 2, which was tendered as 100 megawatt and then contracted as a 200 megawatt PV power plant. Bids were submitted in 2015, and a tariff of 6 cents per kilowatt hour has been achieved, which was a world record back then. And this together with the enhancement of the technology, the reduction and the more records PV started to achieve globally and regionally, has opened the market widely in the region. Then in 2016, United Arab Emirates in general and Abu Dhabi and Dubai in specific have launched their programs and achieved also again a wonderful achievements in the solar industry from records perspectives in terms of low cost of electricity as well as project size. DIWA has launched its third round or third program. Bids were submitted, as I recall, in May 2016, and tariff of 3 cents has been achieved. Around 3 cents per kilowatt hour has been achieved, which was again a world record. From size of the project, it was 800 megawatt to be deployed in over 3 years and 3 phases, and from tariff perspectives, it was also a world record. Right after and in the same year, in 2016, Abu Dhabi has received the bids for its first PV program. We fortunately, Jinko, together with Marabini, have submitted back then the lowest offer and successfully executed the BBA and delivered the project for Abu Dhabi. It's a 1.2 gigawatt, which has achieved a tariff of 2.9, and back then also it was a world record from LEC perspectives and from size perspectives. And Suehan is still the first gigawatt PV plant to be built in the earth as a single phase, and the largest PV plant operational to date. Obviously, with these numbers, solar energy has well shown that the solar technology is the most affordable form of energy, and it has opened the market widely and has attracted all off-takers and all governments in the region to consider deploying solar energy under the same structure, IBB templates, large scale. 2017 was another year where we have seen another country, Saudi Arabia, through the Renewable program, launching their first round. 300 megawatt of PV in Sakaka has been awarded in 2017, where tariff has been achieved as 2.3 cents, which is again another world record. 2019, we have seen with the successful deployment of projects, award bids, and so on, and with having many projects being connected, DIWA in third round, Suehan, our project in Suehan, which was a wonderful achievement with respect to records, as we mentioned earlier, as well as delivering the project on time and under budget. All of these together has made 2019 as a booming year in the region, where we have seen many bids: Oman, Ribda 2, Abu Dhabi, second tender, which is BV2 Dafra project, DIWA 5th round, Qatar as well. We have seen Al Kharsa project. So overall, 2019 was a very busy year for us in the Middle East, where again award records has been set. We have seen 1.5 cents again in the region for a 900 megawatt tender, and most recently in 2020, Jinko again in a consortium with EDF has managed to submit the lowest bid for Abu Dhabi's second project. It's called the Dafra project. We have signed the BBA, and we're just about to reach financially close, or we in the process to reach financially close. So all of this will demonstrate how the solar industry has grown up dramatically, as well as has reduced significantly the levelized cost of electricity. Obviously, all of these reductions are due to various factors, from technology perspectives, from operational perspectives, from finance perspectives, the scale of the projects, the demand in the market for more competitive form of energy has led toward smart people working together, these large and giants IBB companies to look aggressively after the market and optimize wherever there is an optimization. We have seen a significant enhancement in the technology from efficiency perspectives, where the same amount of material is being used to generate a way much amount of energy, and that obviously has reduced the land needed, the amount of installation work. We have seen a significant reduction in the cost of manufacturing as well for the key components, especially modules, inverters, tracker system. Economy of scale again plays a key role here, where these suppliers in terms of annual capacity, they have increased their annual capacity significantly as well to respond to the demand in the market. O&M as well, the way we operate these plants, the fact that these plants are no longer small power plants of 10-20 megawatt, they are a gigawatt scale or multiple of 100 megawatt, 100 of megawatts scale. It has also optimized the OPEX. And one more item, obviously, that have helped us to really reduce the levelized cost of electricity significantly was introducing a new competitive solution from the finance market as well. Project Finance has came up with various innovative solutions that have helped us to really reduce the capex, to reduce the levelized cost of electricity. In this slide here, I'm showing a brief, which is an extract from Bloomberg recent report. This shows the reduction in the EPC price, or the capex of the project, from 2016 till 2020, and then the forecasted from till 2025. And as you can see, people is forecasting only over 10 years to see a reduction of more than 50% in the capex. Over the last 4 years, we have seen a reduction of around 40 in accordance to this report. These numbers represent, I think, a global kind of scale and various project sizes from small to large. I think in Middle East, we fortunately enjoy the most competitive numbers in a global basis from EPC perspectives and capex perspectives due to the size of the project and the dynamics of the market. I think our numbers in the region are more aggressive or more competitive than what's presented in this slide. As I mentioned earlier as well, and in this slide I'm sharing the enhancement for one of the key equipment in the PV power plant, which is the PV module itself. This is based on an internal records from over the last 4 years. The efficiency of the modules have improved dramatically from by around 2%, and 2% obviously represent around 10% of the efficiency of the module itself. So from 18.5% as efficiency to 20.76, this 2% represent an enhancement of the efficiency overall by around 10%. Also, the module's physical dimension has changed, where in 2016 the modules available back then in the market and what we have deployed as example in our Sumayhana project was around 350-360 watt peak modules, while today we're talking about modules of 520. Obviously the physical dimension is slightly bigger, but still the efficiency has improved, as I mentioned, by around 10%, and overall the bigger physical dimension and the enhancement efficiency have together reduced the capex, the installation cost, the recovered area, and so on. Operation cost in this slide, as you could see, it has enhanced dramatically. I recall in 2010 our assumptions for the O&M used to be around $15 per kilowatt peak, where today we're talking about only $4 to $4.5 per kilowatt peak, and that's obviously again due to economy of scale, due to the reduction in the spare parts, giving the capex for these spare parts, the reduction of the cost of the spare parts. And the enhancement also in the technology, making it more reliable. Obviously, longer track records now that allow us to better estimate, and definitely the economy of scale as well plays a key role in reducing the capex. We no longer operating a plant of 10-20 megawatt. We're operating a plant of 1 gigawatt, and we are just about to start construction of a 2 gigawatt plant, and that obviously plays a key role when it comes to reducing the OPEX. So all of these together have helped very much in driving the curve and the reduction of the levelized cost of energy in the last decade. The next slides I will be talking where we're seeing solar industry in this decade. Well, I think solar industry has proven again to be one of the most optimistic industries, and that it's here to stay and to grow. I think in this year 2020, which has been a very tough year for all industries and sectors. The world was locked down for a couple of months, or many countries have been locked down for a couple of weeks or months, and most of the industries has slowed down and showing a negative growth in many cases, where the solar industry fortunately has yet, despite all of these challenges, managed to grow by around 14% in 2020, despite the pandemic and the challenges that we're facing. And this demonstrates clearly that this is a very promising industry, and this demonstrates clearly the demand the world and the nations have toward renewable energy in general and PV in specific. In Middle East, in 2017, the region has achieved slightly around 7% of renewable energy deployment, while we're expecting by 2030, in accordance to the IRENA recent outlook report, number to be close to 31%. Sorry, 20%, where and 2050 the number could reach to 31%. For PV in specific, in 2017, the region has achieved around 1% of its energy from PV, while by 2030 the number would increase to up of 8%. These obviously are outlooks, and I personally believe that these are still conservative numbers with the growth that we have seen in the last decade, and the opportunity and the demand, and the fact that this is really the most affordable form of energy could drive us to really achieve higher numbers. Now, this decade, obviously, we will see many countries entering to the PV field or to the solar industry and start their programs, while we will see key countries that has deployed their first programs already continuing. Now, the first, I think, 15 to 20% of penetration in newly grid from renewable energy are typically achievable or easily achievable through the existing infrastructure. That challenges start after when you really try to exceed 15 to 20% of penetration and try to utilize and make a benefits of this competitive form of energy. Obviously, the challenge is through various reasons, which I guess known for many of the audience. Renewable energy and solar in specific are variable source of energy. It's not available 24/7, and it's unexpected generation profile, and all of these together are not aligned with the way that we used to consume our energy. We need a reliable source. We consume day and night. We consume whenever we need to consume. So the generation profile of the solar industry does not necessarily match our load profile, and that's obviously guides us toward what we really need to do to maximize our benefits and our energy bill savings using and utilizing this competitive form of energy. I guess the first one and the most important one in the short term for countries that has reached a good percentage in their grid is to deploy and to adapt policies and regulations that force the load profile as well as the generation profile of the PV sector and the PV projects to be closer to each other. Starting with the generation profile, and I think we can design our plant in various ways where we can generate more energy during specific hours during the day and specific days during the year. And that's obviously need to be regulated under these tenders or under these programs, where the awarding criteria need to take in consideration this, and any specific awarding criteria that the region is following or the solar industry in general is following, which is LEC, levelized electricity cost, is not necessarily, or the LEC actually simply asks us to maximize the amount of energy that we generated during the course of the year without any consideration for specific hours or specific days, or without any consideration for the load profile. So an innovative awarding criteria need to be considered in our upcoming tenders, where it does ask the investor and the developer and the designer to design the plant in a way where he generates electricity that is closer or he generates in a profile that is closer to the load profile. From the other side of the coin, obviously, to bring the load curve and the generation curve closer to each other, the load profile need to be also adapted toward this competitive form of energy and this competitive source of energy. Again, I think off-takers need to reconsider and adapt policies, regulations that gives incentives for end users to consume when solar generates, such as offering competitive tariffs during the course of the day, where the generation of the solar it's at peak, summer as example, and this I guess would play more and more and for certain industries and certain applications such as electrical vehicles, where we could really charge them during the peak generation of the solar. This would be a short-term kind of solution that would not necessarily cost any additional infrastructure, while in the medium term to long term, obviously, to make it available for 24/7, we need energy shifting tools. So large-scale solar PV could be combined with a storage solution, or storage solutions could be built and independent stations to allow shifting the generation from renewable energy and PV in specific off-grid applications, obviously with solar PV or hybrid solutions, especially in remote areas as well. Obviously, enhancing the current networks that we have, grid connections between countries, interconnected grids between countries would also allow for higher penetration. And last but not least, I would say is digitizing the plant and the grid. Getting a live data and the live information of our generation and of our consumption would definitely help us to behave better from both from generation and from load profile, and allow higher penetration in our grids. Thank you very much. I thank again the event organizer. I hope these minutes would be helpful and will add information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matana. Next, I would like to have Mr. Ahmad Asnada with his professional knowledge to give the highlight on technology and O&M analytics contribution to O&M cost optimization. Welcome, Mr. Ahmad.
Good morning or good afternoon to the audience, and thank you very much for hosting me in this virtual summit. Of course, I'm very pleased to be with all the guests, of Huawei, and all the technology support that Huawei has given to the world is a clear demonstration of their commitment to enable multiple parts of our industry across various stages. Obviously, I'm representing Mazda today, and obviously as well, Nessia, I'm the president of the Middle East Oil Industry Association, in addition to my job at Mazda. So I'll be talking a little bit about how the technology has been critical in enabling the second piece of our industry, which is the O&M. And obviously, as I said, Huawei has been an instrument. So if you look quickly at the industry situation right now and the O&M piece, basically, we continue to see huge investments coming into the renewable space in general and solar in particular. And as you can see, the statistics from IRENA reports, there is nothing that has stopped the investments. Even this year, despite the COVID, we continue to see some critical projects ongoing. The missing piece is that nobody has the history and the details of many components and what to predict in the future. And that's why having platforms that can predict the behavior of any technology will be instrumental for the success of our industry. Of course, most of you are people who are in the industry, and we do have critical three phases: the development of the project, the execution, and then the operation of the assets. And obviously, the most important thing is to bring back the return on investment that was promised to the shareholders. Today, I think the technology has enabled significant, financial solutions. So I'm not worried too much about how we manage our financial and commercial aspects of our industry. We are connected to the latest and greatest ERP systems and financial systems, and we're able to report how the assets are behaving. Operations-wise, also, I think there are lots of activities, and tasks that are automated and do proper interface with whatever systems to bring a lot of integration to the industry and to the developments of the operations requirements or parameters that are useful for taking decisions in relation to any asset operating in our industry. To a great extent, the maintenance management also, preventive or corrective maintenance tasks, orders, work orders, all of that has been done by proper interface of computer maintenance systems. The one thing that remains very, very important is how the technology will enable the optimization, solving the complexity as we move forward. And I think that's really where the question of the future is. There are so many assets integrated, operating maybe individually or isolated or in isolation or in integrated mode. But at all times, the struggle is how to optimize the fleet. What decision can you make for the fleet? How can you reduce cost? What kind of analytics can you do and use to predict the behavior of your equipment and ensure the reliability of the future? And I think that's really what has been the tasks of many of the technology companies. As I mentioned, Huawei, one of them. And we have seen significant progress on this aspect, and we continue to see the true value of analytics coming forward with the powerful platforms that we're working on. Today, the key activities of cleaning, for example, and when to do them, Lots of analytics are helping us understanding the soiling and the soiling behavior in different parts of the world and accordingly take decisions. Same thing also when it comes to preventive maintenance decisions, which could lead to condition-based maintenance eventually if you do have the data to predict the future of your assets. So I think these are the key technology analytics that we are looking forward from our technology partners, to respond and bring us value as we move forward. The other aspect, obviously, or the other facade of this issue is that the cyber security that goes along with this complexity, and that becomes part of a big risk that the technology is imposing on all of us. So I think this summit I'm sure, will have also other topics about how the technology platforms and technology providers are able to help O&M people such as myself in optimizing their assets and looking at the future and making decisions that are wise and enabled through data that is comprehensive to make the right decisions. And I conclude my presentation with a couple of small examples that today Huawei is giving us help in Bab el-Shams projects, where we have an online inspection portal. And from here, from my office, I can always monitor the plant and scan all the PV strings remotely and determine which one is at fault. This is just a very simple exercise that we do on a daily basis, and I receive an automated report every night showing me what's happening on the plant. The other one also is the optimization of the tracking system to support the algorithms of the optimal angle. These are just two examples of cooperation that we have. And again, I would like to thank Huawei for giving me the opportunity to provide some small insights about the future of O&M analytics and how the technology partners and providers should continue to aim to giving us solutions on that respect. Thank you very much on behalf of Masdar and on behalf of the Middle East Solar Industry Association. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamad. And now it's time to experience some magic. Let's see what our magician has up his sleeves for us. Stay tuned.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, hope you are well and keeping safe. On behalf of Huawei, thank you for joining the virtual summit, and it's my pleasure to entertain you for the Huawei Fusion Solar Virtual Summit Rethink PV 2020. My name is Chris, and I'm a magician. Yeah, now who'd have thought in 2020, not only will we be having events online, but we'll also be watching a magic show online. It's crazy, right? But much like solar energy, we're changing with the times and changing the way things are typically done. So with that in mind, I've brought my own audience with me. Take a look. I know, professional. Actually, speaking of professional, I need to freshen my breath before we get going. Actually, oh, I'm all out. Okay, well, chewing gum isn't actually that fun, is it? You know what is fun? Chocolate. Yeah. Now, this is a magic show, so it requires some focus. So we need to make sure that you're all paying attention. Let's do a quick observation test. I've got 5 playing cards here. You're going to remember everything you can about these 5 cards. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get everything? Now, if I was to ask you what the bottom card was, you'd say, Chris, it was blank, right? But you probably missed the ace. Yeah, I know. Well, you might have missed that. However, you definitely got what the colour of the back of the cards were, right? Blue. No, they're not blue, they're red. If you missed that, you probably missed the full royal flush as well. Now that I've got your attention, I want to make sure you're all warmed up, because even though we are all at home, it's still a pretty big deal. So, let's everyone shake your hands. Follow along with me. Shake your hands. You're not too cool to do this. And don't forget, I am a magician, so I can see inside all your living rooms. Oh, that includes you, Uncle Larry. Come on, shake your hands. Lovely. Okay, hold your hands out like this. Going to turn our hands upside down so your thumbs are facing downwards. Going to lift your right hand up and you're going to cross it over your left hand and clasp. Now, Uncle Larry, just lift your hands up a little bit. There we go. All right. On the count of 3, you're going to follow me. 1, 2, 3. So I currently have an iPhone. I know, boo, yeah. However, I'm about to upgrade to a Huawei phone. But something's bugged me about the most recent iPhones. And I'll tell you what it is. Let me go and get it. Where is it?
2 hours later.
See, I always thought it was a bit silly having 3 cameras on a phone. It's unnecessary, right? Remember the last iPhone? It only had 2, right? Or was it 1? Can't remember. Remember when phones didn't even have cameras on them? My prediction for the new iPhone, though, 1 big camera. And that is the camera trick. But it isn't a camera trick. But it is a camera trick. Whatever, put the applause on. So in the UK, we've been in lockdown twice now. And in the first lockdown, I actually learned how to solve one of these. Yeah, a Rubik's Cube. We've all tried and we've all failed. They're really difficult. However, weirdly enough, Rubik's Cubes actually kind of remind me of the energy business. And I'll tell you why. Because much like the energy business, people have been trying to solve Rubik's Cubes a certain way for decades, right? Just like that. However, something like solar power comes along and completely changes the way you do things. Oh yeah, oh by the way, I actually found out how to do that completely by accident. I've actually got the footage to show you right now, take a look. Alright guys, we've been in lockdown for what, like 6-7 weeks now. We're all trying to find things to keep ourselves occupied with. I'm very excited because I've just found something that's going to keep me entertained for hours and hours trying to solve. Awkward, right? However, if you're feeling particularly lazy, I've got an easy way for you to solve a Rubik's Cube. Let me show you with this tiny cube here. I take this cube around with me wherever I go. Reason being, in case I get hungry, I can just smash it. We get chocolate. Yeah. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Darren Brown. He talks a lot about influence, and right now, I'm going to try and influence you all with a thought. Think of a superhero. Now, think of the last letter of that superhero's name. Now think of a month of the year beginning with that last letter. Think of the last letter of that month. Now think of a colour beginning with that last letter. Got it? Okay, now I've got another Rubik's Cube here. Do you see your colour here? You do? Okay, I think this is the colour. Yeah? No, it's not. Oh. Okay, just keep focusing on the white though. Just keep focusing on the white, ready? Is that your colour? Now, being a magician, I often get asked a lot of the same questions, like, how do you do that? Do that again. Why are you here? Leave us alone. Actually, one of my favourites is, can you make my wife disappear? Yeah, I get that a lot. But one I feel like that needs to be cleared up once and for all is, Chris, can you make me win the lottery? I'm going to be honest with you, I can't. I've actually got some of these with me though. You can see these there. Lottery tickets. And I have these to illustrate a point. Because, like I said, magicians, we can't make you win the lottery. But I can do the next best thing, which is which is this. Yeah, making 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 pounds. Although, guys, don't get too excited, because obviously we are in the middle of a pandemic, right? So paper money is kind of useless, so I may as well try and win the lottery. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Let's now move on to Dr. Roland Humphrey. Dr. Roland is Director of Power Conversion Technology Laboratory from Nuremberg, Huawei, Germany. And he will talk about how Huawei Smart PV solution continues to lead industry. And ladies and gentlemen, stay with us, do not leave. We have prepared a wonderful program for you later.
I welcome all of you to our summit. My name is Roland Hümpfner and I'm the leader of the Huawei Power Conversion Technology Lab in Nuremberg Research Center, Germany. Our key mission is to bring innovation in the field of power electronics. These ideas we apply for innovative PV solutions. Huawei is a leading provider of information and communication infrastructure and smart devices. Here are some figures about Huawei. We have 194,000 employees, while 96,000 of them are working in R&D. We operate in more than 170 countries around the world and take the position 61 in the global Fortune 500. Our mission is to bring digital to every person and home and organizing a fully connected, intelligent world. We are organized in 4 major business groups: carrier, consumer, enterprise, and cloud and AI. Our sales is continuously growing with an average growth rate of more than 13% year on year. In 2019, we reached a total sales revenue of $123 billion. Digital power is a cornerstone for building a fully digital world. This segment covers site power facilities, which supports the power supply of communication sites. The strong growth rate in data processing and storage increased the demand for data center facilities where we can provide the complete infrastructure. In the smart PV area, we are active less than a decade, but we hold already a leading position for several years. mPower serves the electrification of the mobility sector and is our youngest business in digital power. The modular power provides converters for all our ICT products and solutions. With a global shipment of more than 130 gigawatts accumulated, we rank number 1 already for 5 consecutive years. Innovations such as smart IV curve capture and diagnosis or the reliable anti-PID solution are some innovations we introduced in the past. In the future, we will increase the transmission voltage between the PV modules and the MV transformer station for driving the BOS down in utility scale plants. We have a wide portfolio to provide comprehensive solutions for residential, commercial and industry and utility scale smart PV solutions. Leading efficiency and power density of the PV inverter combined with smart algorithms to optimize the overall operation and maintenance of the power plants are key innovation potentials for the future. The accumulated capacity of the installed PV plants is rapidly increasing. Further, we need to achieve ambitious targets to get global warming under control. While currently the worldwide PV installation grow more than 100 gigawatts per year, we will accelerate this growth in the next decades. In order to make this feasible, we need to drive the cost per watt of the PV plants down, which will enable a decrease of LCOE. Despite of this declining cost, the overall annual investment is going up, driven by the annual increase of the installed capacity. Here you can see relatively low PV penetration in Middle East today. While in Europe there is already a considerable renewable electricity production, Middle East has 2% PV penetration rate. This is 5 times lower than in the EU. But as you can see, many countries target a penetration of 30% or more by 2030 in the Middle East. Innovation is a key driver for success of PV. We are moving from traditional PV solutions into the smart PV area, where smart tracker algorithm will maximize the overall harvest, smarter diagnosis such as advanced IV curve capture and analysis for detecting performance ratio risk well in advance, realizing the highest safety standards with features like smart arcing detection and protection, rapid shutdown features, and smart anti-PID solutions to avoid performance losses. Here you can see how we follow an end-to-end approach, integrating all components by one manufacturer, starting from the PV module management, supported by optimized tracker integration and advanced grid algorithms, finally complemented by a smart energy storage system. Until today, we delivered continuous innovation of string inverters platform with enhanced protection and diagnosis features, updated annually by our latest technical progress. We upgrade the power density, efficiency, and smartness continuously to achieve the best performance with an individual PV plant. Here you can see a summary of the latest innovation achievements of our Smart IV Curve Diagnosis 4.0, representing a disruptive O&M efficiency improvement. It can record the complete IV curves of a 300 megawatt plant in 25 minutes, fully automatically, including the final report. This means these diagnosis techniques can be used more frequently. The overall yield development can be assessed on a regular basis without impacting the OPEX of the plant. Another AI boost feature is to optimize tracker control algorithm. It can improve the yield of a tracker system more than 0.5%. Here you can see some results of the yield increase based on advanced tracker algorithms on different plants, ranging up to more than 1.3%. Here you can see how the smart algorithms stabilize the grid in challenging conditions, especially on low short circuit ratios, SCRs, in fault right-through conditions and harmonic management. We provide all key features to comply with grid codes such as voltage and frequency detection protection, active power versus frequency curves, reactive power versus voltage dependency, fault right-through features, and power quality harmonic optimization. So our inverters contain all features to comply with the Middle East grid codes. Innovation is the way forward. Starting from the smart PV 1000 volts systems with the introduction of the multiple MPPT in large-scale PV plants, increasing the yield up to 2%, the touch-free O&M features, high availability technologies, M-bus data transmission without signal cables, and the high accuracy string monitoring. Pioneering the 1500 volt with a significant BOS reduction, IV curve diagnosis, and advanced grid algorithms. We will continue this trend to have a fully intelligent PV solution with storage integration to become the mainstream of energy. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Roland. A very successful presentation. Next up is my colleague, Mr. Harry M. Supermaniam. Harry is our CTO of Huawei Fusion Solar Europe, and now he will talk about interpretation of security standards and the Huawei Fusion Solar CNI solution. Over to you, Harry.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to my presentation on the Fusion Solar C&I Smart PV Solutions. So I will walk you through today on some of our products that we provide for C&I applications, and also I will walk you today on some of the benefits which are very critical for C&I applications, like arc fault safety protection and also PID recovery functions and so on. So my name is Hariram Subramanian. I'm CTO of Fusion Solar Solutions. I'm located in Germany, in Nuremberg, together with the Competence Center for Power Electronics, where we are doing cutting-edge research activities and technology development with respect to power electronics and related applications here. From the Fusion Solar commercial and industrial PV systems, if we take a brief overview, we are offering there our smart PV inverters from 12, 15, 17, 20 M2, and we are offering our smart PV inverter for 50 and 60 kilowatt, which is the 5060 M0. Now we are offering our optimizer here, which is an updated optimizer with 450 watts. In addition to it, we will be offering our latest technological advanced inverter with very high power density, also for C&I applications in the power class around about 30 kilowatts, which is the Sun 2030, 36 and 40 KTL M3. For a little bit larger size, we are offering our Sun 2100 KTL M1 and 100 KTL M1 Pro. So if you take a look into the slide in the screen, you can see that for a simple C&I scenario, we can offer a solution with full optimizer, or let's say also no optimizer mode, and in addition the ancillary components like monitoring and power sensors for energy management and so on. And we're also providing the smart dongle, and there's an opportunity to connect to the internet through wireless or through 4G, 3G and 2G connectivity technologies here, and monitor it remotely with the Fusion Solar Smart PV management system. So the smart dongle is something which can support 10 devices, and it could be used for very quick installation and connectivity to the network as well. And if you look into let's say a little bit bigger system for around about a megawatt range, we are offering, as I said, the smart PV inverter 100 KTL M1 and 100 KTL M1 Pro with the smart dongle, and also the smart logger 3000A. Smart logger 3000A could also be used for connection with some weather sensors or weather stations, and it could also communicate to the network through 4G, 3G and 2G to the portal system. So it's basically a very simple concept, very easy to install and deploy, and comes up with a package of benefits which we will see more in detail in today's presentation. So let's look into the KPIs and very key performance index of this product, Sun 2030, 36 and 40 KTL M3. Industry's leading efficiency 98.7%, able to handle high current with a maximum current of 26 amperes here. As usual, our products always have, let's say, multiple MPP. We have 4 MPPTs, 2 input per MPPT or 8 inputs in total. As you can see, it's an extremely compact design with very high power density, or kilowatt per kilogram, or if you can also take a look in kilowatt per liter, it's 43 kilograms lighter and smaller compared to the previous generation. Have a very wide, broad MPPT voltage range, 200 to 1000 volts, and it also provides an IP66 protection, ingress protection class. So it's a state of the art with maximum efficiency reaching 98.7%. Which is actually one of the world class in this segment here, and very optimally you can use it for C&I applications in a perfect way. And when we take a look into the optimizer here, which is a Sun 2450 watt minus P, and it's like one fit solution that can fit into variety of PV modules. Let's say 450 watt, 80 volts, reaching a maximum efficiency above industry average, which is 99.5% for this kind of classes. Extremely compact design, 50% smaller than our first generation products. Have also a broad MPP range, 8 to 80 volts, and comes with an IP ingress protection class of IP68 here. Let's try to understand a little bit before we go more into detail on the key features and important aspects on safety like AFCI. What is very important is to look into the optimal electricity cost here. So if we take a look on the smart PV solution, what is actually very important for your projects is basically reducing the BOS or the eBOS cost, the electrical BOS, and reducing the OPEX cost. Actually, key parameters that goes here is the O&M cost. So if you have a solution that is very reliable and which can be used, for example, with zero touch maintenance, the O&M cost goes down, and there also your OPEX cost. And also what is important is the energy that it can generate during the lifetime of the project. So that means when we would calculate the system lifetime, and the useful energy that it can produce during the lifetime is very important for you, for your let's say harvest, and also for reducing your LCOE here. So what are the key data here? I mean, if you look into the key data, one is the reliability data, and the lifetime data, and how the inverter has been designed to operate under extreme conditions without any wear and tear parts, natural cooling, no fuses, as fuses are heating elements that can also bring in some challenges here. And diagnostics parts, which is act very importantly in O&M, where we bring in the IV curve diagnostics, as you know, from the utility scale, and which has been successfully deployed in a lot of projects with more than 7 gigawatts with application with IV curve diagnostics here. And also the flexibility, so you can connect, let's say, a larger string, I mean, with up to 10 kilowatts per string, which can be connected, and also you can have fewer strings in total, and also less wirings and connectors. This all brings in, let's say, cost savings in total system cost, for example. And be an interesting challenge if we see in C&I application compared to residential is in C&I scenarios in the roof, for example, or the rooftops. There could be an air conditioner, there could be actually vents, there could be a fence, also telecom base stations, power stations for telecom, also banner and hoardings there. So this could bring in potential, let's say, challenge in terms of shading. And actually, if there is a shading, I mean, it creates the weakest link in the system, and when the weakest link is created, actually it is affecting the harvest directly. With an optimizer solution, we could go up to 30% higher in terms of yield and get enough harvest there, because it will optimize at that location when there is a shading and sit in the sweet spot of the MPP curve. So that's actually bringing in high performance and extreme high yield generation for your projects in C&I applications. And also with more modules, you could have a flexible design. This would reduce the BOS cost and also would reduce the risk of failures. So for example, up to 10 kilowatt per string allows more modules per string to be connected. In that way, you could also reduce additional connectors and any added, let's say, components that's needed for connection here. So cost can be saved considerably. High amount of DC-AC ratio can be reached here with oversizing, where you could have up to 190% of DC-AC ratio or overloading. They were also reducing the cost significantly in your projects, for example. As I said, with the shading, I mean, we provide, let's say, the MPP tracking, so 2 strings per MPPT. So if there is a shading, could be because of azimuth or tilt, or also because of some, let's say, objects or trees which could shade the PV panels typically. The multiple MPP, as I said before, is going to help in getting the sweet spot and extracting as much energy from the DC side to be converted effectively to AC, basically. So we did quite a lot of case studies here. One interesting case study is what you see here in the slide in Bangkok, because it's actually a very interesting case study because it has a high humidity, extreme temperature as well. And here what we can see is a very good performance, even in terms of shading. What we have compared on some days here, with around about 1.56% of yield increase with the solution here. So that is a key benefit here. Multiple MPP trackers. We are providing 6 MPP trackers, up to 10 MPP trackers. So that is actually bringing in a lot of advantages for your design with flexibility here. A key challenge, what actually people have seen in the PV industry, is the PID, so potential induced degradation. These are creating some challenges where the energy harvest from the PV panels is actually reducing over the lifetime. It's a kind of a degradation, if you want to think simply, typically affecting crystalline modules and also thin film modules here, and this will negatively impact your PV yield. So there are various, let's say, scientific papers and articles who analyze the PID and the effects. And typically it comes due to a potential difference. So if you go to a PV park measure between PV minus and PE, you might see a negative potential, and this creates actually some challenges in the string and could bring in PID problems there. Typically accelerated due to high temperature and high humidity, so PID effects get accelerated there. And in order to avoid these, or in order to find a solution here, we brought in quite a variety of solutions. And for a C&I application, what is actually ideal is to go with the PID, let's say, regeneration mechanism. So the PID regeneration is working in this way where we can recover the lost, let's say, electrons or ions, and actually it works during the night time to recover the PID impacts that happen during the daytime, and thereby regenerating the modules and giving new life to the modules in this way. So the PID could be anti-PID solution here, or PID recovery solution could be very easily set up, and it consumes the solution consumes extremely low power, around about 5 watt as night consumption when the PID recovery is happening. So this is integrated into our solution, into our inverter, and we call it as a built-in PID modules, and it also lets to a very low capex, and there is no retrofit needed later stage, and you can avoid PID effects right from the beginning itself here. So we did some case study here on the PID recovery, and we see that quite a lot of advantage or benefits here in terms of the yield. For example, one interesting aspect is the recovery increases the energy yield up to 1.59% in some projects that was been tested on a rooftop solution, and this is actually a very positive sign, and it's very let's say, field case study for you as data to understand how effectively the PID recovery is helping to recover modules that are degraded due to PID effects. Another very key aspect is active safety. Why this is very important, we will also see that because arcs are certain things that can threaten, let's say, the investment of the PV project. So these are actually a kind of, let's say, you know maybe about sparks. So it's something like that, but having a very high energy, and it creates some electrical breakdown in the gap where the arc actually happens. Arcs can happen due to, let's say, poor soldering joints, or it could happen because of some PV cables which are loosely connected, or maybe during the lifetime maybe some wear and tear happens. And it could also bring in some challenges where the arc potentially can create a fire and actually destroy the electrical equipments and also the PV panels there. What is challenging here is to find a methodology to detect arc as a true arc, and not to sense a kind of a noise or kind of provide false positives here. So it brings in a lot of signal processing and very detailed, let's say, analysis, and we brought in our deep learning algorithms there to detect an arc, and also provide, let's say, a correct pinpoint analysis if the arc has happened, and we will see that also here. So what exactly is that? So as we explained, the challenges in a PV park or in a PV project with the arcs, and how it can actually bring in some negative or let's say cost impact if there is actually an arc that happens. So in order to avoid this, we brought in the integrated arc fault circuit interrupter, AFCI, and AFCI is being powered by our, let's say, artificial intelligence and neural network deep learning algorithms. As you can see in the video here, the arc fault detection is done by our neural network algorithm. And what is also important is not just the detection, but also, let's say, speedy shutdown of the inverter, which is above, let's say, what is standard requirements and so on, as we are able to shut down in 0.5 seconds actually. So these are certain important analytics here on arc fault self-learning, as you see in the video. Arc fault detection, speedy arc fault interruption, and also real-time active alarms that you can see in case an real arc has actually happened. And this way your system is protected, and you also have in high amounts of safety when you are installing your projects in your rooftop, because you have your assets in these type of scenarios here. As you could also see here, what exactly is the key difference is to detect when an arc has really happened, and not to, let's say, react also on noises, because you have some currents flowing through the PV cables, and it could typically lead to some noise, and maybe bring in wrong diagnostics, and they don't need to go to check if there is a fault when the real fault has not happened, for example. Or I call it as the false positives here in this case. Let's see a comparison to understand. I mean, you see here in the video PV arcing, you see that when an arc happens and it doesn't stop, it actually creates a fire. But here you see in this example with the AI boost arc fault circuit interrupter, you see when an arc happens, if I replay the video again, you see when an arc happens, and it's just stopped immediately. It's actually broke or braked, I would say. And the arc function is when the arc function inside the inverter is enabled. So the arc is extinguished within 0.5 seconds here, for example. Another important aspect is because you might have a rooftop where you have maybe a long string or long cables, and what is interesting is that our solution is able to tailor for needs up to 200 meters in terms of the range for detecting the arcs, and also for let's say modules that brings in up to 26 amperes when you take about bifaciality gain into consideration. So this is actually quite interesting. It's quite above what actually the standard test cases say, like 80 meters and so on, but we are able to reach far beyond 80 meters to go up to 200 meters. And at the same time, we are able to reach up to, let's say, performance for bifacial modules and larger currents up to 62% better than what is conventionally seen in the market here. One other important aspect here is the 0-volt module shutdown, because this is actually very key in case of people or O&M or firefighters who actually is inside, or let's say in the rooftop, because it has to be quite safe here. So the 0-volt module shutdown brings in extreme safety for installers, maintenance personnel, and in case of firefighters who are there in the rooftop. So it meets the advanced standards. So we already satisfy all the standards here, like NEC 2014, 2017 for the rapid shutdown. And we are able to also bring in here, let's say 0 volts, which is very important during installation. And when the string is disconnected, there isn't any voltage there. And also during maintenance and emergency cases, and when the AC is also shut down, it brings in immediately 0 volts. And with the full optimizer mode, we are able to provide this in all your projects to go into the 0 module level voltage. Another important aspect is the pinpoint detection. The pinpoint detection is the arc fault detection exactly in the location where it has happened. This brings in O&M benefits, because if you have a big rooftop, you don't want to go and search where a fault is, or which has created actually an arcing, or which location is having this issue, because we are able to provide the pinpoint fault detection here. And as you can see, most of the time the troubleshooting takes a lot of time, and we are able to save also cost personnel here, and as we use our diagnostics mechanism to pinpoint exactly where the fault has actually happened. And this is quite interesting. And let's see a little bit on the better experience. What we see on the better experience is the leading technology brings in better experience. It's actually about, let's say, AI technology, power electronics, natural cooling, communication and connectivity technology, because we bring in, let's say, module auto mapping methods. We bring in methods where we are actually bringing maintenance-free systems and smart module diagnostics here. One interesting thing is the module auto mapping, where we can do mapping within 40 seconds. And this way we are able to save quite a lot of time in configuration when you deploy our solutions. Very quickly done without complicated burden in doing, let's say, kind of mapping here. Another important thing is about the reliability, because it's also something very important. Reliability is tested by a lot of third-party accredited companies here, and we bring in, let's say, an availability up to 99.996. That means annual failure rate is less than 0.5%. There are various reasons because of behind this, and there is actually technology that goes here, reliability testers goes here, and also the architecture and the framework of the inverter, as it does not have any fuses, no heating elements there with fuse, and also no quick wear and tear parts, or and it's actually zero touch or touch free here, and that brings in also some of our concept that comes from the telecom application for natural cooling goes inside the inverter, bringing in high amounts of reliability here. And from the connectivity and communication side, with the smart dongle, we are able to support 10 devices. So one smart dongle can connect 10 inverters. So it's like it fits all the scenarios. And we are able to do also, let's say, grid connected power control could be achieved through the wireless LAN and 4G dongles as well. IV curve diagnostics, which is an effective tool to diagnose actually, let's say, the issues that you see in the PV panels and modules. And IV curve diagnostics is basically a kind of additional tool for O&M, which will also reduce your OPEX cost, basically, because you can do it with the inverter itself. Because the inverter not just converts DC to AC, but it's also doing a lot of monitoring mechanism. It's also doing a lot of diagnostics, and the IV curve, which is deployed in a lot of projects, is very helpful because you are able to scan your entire project within some seconds or minutes, depending on the size of the project, and you create an automatic generated report because there's no manual report creation, everything is done automatically on your project. So IV curve diagnostics has been used around 7 gigawatts in worldwide applications, and there are a lot of key data that comes from this, which is very useful for your own project and analytics and data analysis in the end. So in total, we have around 8 innovations that support optimal LCOE, safety aspects, user interface aspect, and also the reliability aspects goes here. So for example, if you see all the 8 points like AI powered arc protection system, zero voltage shutdown, and active arcing protection. So these are all the safety aspects. Then comes into, let's say, module performance with the optimizer, PID recovery that brings in high amount of harvest and yield, and also from the user experience side, quick deployment methods and high reliability without fuses and other wear and tear parts, and also the IV curve diagnostics and monitoring methods here. So thank you very much for listening to me, and it's a pleasure to speak here today virtually. Maybe there's an opportunity to meet every PV enthusiast face to face and discuss also about our solution in the near future. So thank you very much for listening, and if you have any questions, please do write to us, and we are more than happy to answer all your questions and also share your thoughts, our thoughts with you. Thank you very much.
Next up, we would like to showcase our interest sample point of Ningxia Baofeng 640 megawatt smart solar plant.
Welcome everyone to Baofeng 640 megawatt PV plant located in Ningxia province, China. I'm Olivia. Today, let's have a tour of this spectacular solar farm together. Baofeng 640 megawatt solar plant has 3 features ranking #1 globally. First, it's the largest solar agriculture PV plant. Second, it's the largest PV plant constructed by monocrystalline PV module. Third, is the largest PV plant full equipped with tracker system. From the center of PV plant, we can see 3,200 acres of solar panels on the top, while under that, 1,700 acres of Chinese organic off-berries is planted to the earth, which maximizes the land usage. The solar agriculture mode can provide a lot of job opportunities for local residents, helps them get rid of poverty. From the end of 2016 to 31 July of this year, Baofeng Group has generated about 4 billion kilowatt hours of electricity, reduced 2.3 million tons of carbon dioxide emission, which is equivalent to planting 3.2 million trees. This is Huawei string inverters on 2015 PTLC1, and these inverters has protection levels as high as IP65. And this will provide good protections against sand and path invasion. And it has 8 input, 2 input per MPPT. On the one hand, these designs can eliminate the consumable parts like fuse and enable the reliability of whole system. On the other hand, these designs can minimize the mismatch of strings and increase the yields at least 2%. This is AC output connected to the inverter. Based on Huawei M-Bus communication technology, these cables carries not only the power but also the data. It means the data is through M-Bus rather than conventional RS485 cable. Without RS485 cable, the customers can save cost and enjoy higher reliabilities in life cycle because the RS485 cables is very fragile and easy to be destroyed during the agricultural activities. There is a tracker control box. In the past, it has nothing to do with inverter, but in this plant, the inverters plays an important role as communication channels for the trackers nearby. This means through these communication cables, the trackers can transmit data to the back office through inverter and M-bus technology. This can save a lot of communication cost. And in addition, the inverters provide three-phase power supplies for the tracker nearby. This also can save individual power supply cost. In a word, Huawei string inverters is not just a functional device, but also the master of whole system. This is Huawei Smart Area Control Unit with smart logger inside. It's free of array, collecting data and sending commands to inverter. All network algorithms are integrated in SSAU based on AI technology, enabling the faster response to grid regulation. China state grid has requirement for fast frequency shifting. It's one of strictest requirements in the world, and it's a challenge for faster response of inverter. Here is a certificate conferred by China State Grid, providing Huawei string inverters can meet requirement of strict grid regulation.
大家好，我是谢孔宁，是宝丰光伏发电有限公司银川第四光伏电站的一名调度员。我们整个银川第四光伏电站采用的是华为组串式智能光伏解决方案。整个电站已经平稳运行了3年多，对华为这套智能光伏解决方案，我有很多的感触，想跟大家分享一下。首先，传统的集中式光伏电站，因为有很多的易损件。包括 LCD 屏幕，包括熔丝，包括风扇，这会大大的增加运维的工作量和运维难度。而华为的组串式逆变器就不会出现这种情况。我们宝丰光伏有13000多台逆变器，每年的故障率平均在2%左右，再加上光伏智能运维系统的配合。这样可以大大节省我们的运维人员的成本和消缺的时间，是非常有利于光伏电站的运行的。第二点，华为的组串式逆变器的并网调试非常的简单，再加之它很多的参数都很符合国家电网的要求，包括依次调频，包括高低压穿越能力，这对电网来说是一件非常好的事情，也可以极大程度上的保证电网的平稳运行。此外，华为的售后技术服务团队每半年会到我站来对我们的运维团队进行一次系统的售后培训，而且华为的售后服务工程师以及他们的后台研发会对我们的提出的问题都会做出及时的回答，对我们的帮助非常大。所以整体感觉上，华为的售后还是非常的不错的。
Now we come to our giveaway. It is a lucky draw. The name of each and every participant here today will be displayed on screen. At the end of the draw, one final name will be selected at random and displayed on your screen. This will indicate the winner of this giveaway. We are closing the end of today's event. Thank you so much for turning in and finding out what Huawei Smart PV is all about. We look forward to seeing you all in person again. Until then, take good care and all the best.